Hey everybody, I get asked all the time, how should my buyers hold title? Well, this isn't something that you or I should advise on. You always want to point them in the direction of, hey, talk to your CPA, talk to your attorney, and to take the advice from them. However, what I'm going to do in this video is kind of give you some subtle differences in different ways of holding title so that you can point your buyers in the right direction. So let's start with sole ownership. One person on title. That person is either single, unmarried, meaning they were once married, then divorced, and now they took title as an unmarried person, or they're on title as a married person, sole and separate, where their spouse would have signed and recorded an interspousal deed, making them sole and separate. When you do hold sole ownership, if you do pass away, your estate will be probated. Tenancy in common. So tenancy in common is actually the default status when more than one person goes on the title and they don't put any status after their name. So if Joe Smith and Mary Smith just put their names on title only and it doesn't say husband and wife or whatever, it's going to default to tenants in common. And in that status of tenants in common, if one party does pass away, their portion of the estate will be probated. The one difference with tenancy in common than most others is you can create different percentages of interest when you're dealing with this. So you can have one person have 75% interest, one person have 25%, or however many people can be on with all sorts of different percentages as long as it all equals 100%. Joint tenancy. Joint tenancy is probably the most common way I see most people holding title, especially if it's a married couple. But anytime you have more than one person on title, they could hold title as joint tenants. But just know that anytime you're using joint tenancy, it's equal ownership. So everybody has equal ownership. So if there's two people on title, it's 50-50. And joint tenancy has a built-in right of survivorship. So it doesn't say right of survivorship after the words joint tenants, but it is built in. So if one party passes away, their whole interest automatically will go to the surviving joint tenant, and that surviving joint tenant will have 100% ownership interest in the property. The one thing about joint tenancy is it can be broken. So if one party decides to deed off and they deed to somebody else, they automatically break the joint tenancy, and then it will default back to tenants in common. Community property. So when you're holding title as community property, this is either for married couples or domestic partners. When you're holding title this way, it's a 50% equal share to each partner. And if one of those partners does pass away, then their portion of the estate could be probated. Many people use this way of holding title for tax benefits when one spouse passes away and they decide to sell the property. But again, I'm not advising on this. This is something for you to speak to your CPA or attorney on. Community property with right of survivorship. So on this way of holding title, again, they must be married or domestic partners. But it is similar to joint tenancy in the sense that there is a right of survivorship. So if one spouse passes away, their interest in that estate will automatically go to the surviving spouse. The difference with joint tenancy is that in joint tenancy, you don't have to be married. In community property or community property right of survivorship, you do have to be married. One reason that people do use this, again, is for tax implications if they do sell the property after one spouse passes away. Again, talk to your CPA or attorney. Holding the property in the trust or in an entity like an LLC or corporation, they all have great benefits, both tax benefits, benefits upon death. That's something I'm not really going to touch in this video, maybe in a future video, but what I'd highly suggest is contact an estate planning attorney that you trust. If you need one, I can point you in that direction. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here for you. Thanks.